Yo, what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm M. Wasted Talent. We're coming to you live a little later than usual. Shout out to my guy Hammer. Happy birthday to Hammer. I didn't, he scheduled his live around the time I was going to do my other one, and I didn't want to step on what he had going on. So I love, the fact that, my brother is a year older, a year wiser. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. He's been at work all day. I'm going to call him when I get off the air. So, Hammer, if you out there, man, shout out to you, man. Happy birthday, my brother. Also, I got to tell you guys before we get to cooking, man, that this stream is powered by BetUS. Now, listen, guys, you know the drill. You've been here long enough. You've been here all season with us, man. And BetUS has been rocking with us all season. Shout out to our wonderful sponsor, BetUS. 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000 using code YouTube150. There's none greater and none better than BetUS. Fastest payouts in the industry. Go on over there and check BetUS out and tell them your brother Wasted sent you. Now, guys, listen. There is a lot going on, man. Breaking news. It is looking like the Raiders are working on a deal as we speak to bring back our defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. They're going to retain him for the 2025 season, man. This has been reported by Josina Anderson. Now, he's been with the Las Vegas Raiders the past 3 seasons. He serves as a defensive coordinator each year, dating back to 2019. The 46-year-old naturally was seen as a replacement for Pete Carroll, right? Not Pete Carroll, but with Pete Carroll. Now, there are a lot of people who are scratching their head at this move. Look, man, I have not been the biggest Patrick Graham fan this season. Patrick Graham and his defense leaves the field open a whole hell of a lot. Now, there are some of you in the chat that are saying, hey, Wasted, man. Why bring this guy back? He didn't want to stay on with us. He ran, he left. You guys got to understand something, bro. Patrick Graham had to do what was best for Patrick Graham, right? The Raiders were going to clean house. That was, pretty apparent. The Raiders were going to clean house. So you can't get upset at him for exercising his options and leaving and taking interviews. But listen, man, the door was slammed in his face. I don't think his resume was grand enough for him to procure a head coaching position. And now Pete Carroll, in his infinite wisdom, has thought to bring Patrick Graham back. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I wasn't happy about it, and then I had to think on it. And when we talk about continuity and the constant changeover with this roster, when we talk about, some of the things that, Maxx Crosby has lamented about, this move effectively eliminates a lot of the trepidation that Maxx Crosby has had about the turnover with this roster and the turnover with this team. And I think bringing Patrick Graham back is going to help kind of restore some of the free agents that might leave. A lot of the free agents that might have left will come back because they're coming back to that continuity. They're coming back to the same defensive scheme. And it's much needed. It is much needed. I'm going to be 100% real with you. You know why I am more hopeful about the Patrick Graham move? Because now you have an all-time great coach that is at the top of the hierarchy. See, I think Patrick Graham's, iteration here with Antonio Pierce was a little different because we knew that Patrick Graham is a much more qualified and knowledgeable coach than Antonio Pierce was. We knew that. Now, what you do as a Raider fan, you look at this situation and you start doing addition. It's very simple arithmetic. You have a coach who has a Hall of Fame resume damn near, that is a perennial defensive powerhouse. He is a defensive coach to his heart. He is going to do everything to support said defense, right? And when Patrick Graham gets into those situations where he's getting mollywopped, when the middle of the field is open and you look at this situation, you're like, man, what the hell is going on here? Why is the middle of the field open? Why are we getting gashed? What the hell is going on here? You have a guy in the building who is going to say, wait, Pat, listen, this is what I see. I need you to fix this. We did not have that previously. I think that is worth its weight in gold. So I think now, not only do you have a Pete Carroll who is going to bring his brand of enthusiasm, his expertise, and spread that all over the team. Not only do you have a John Spytek who seems to be, one of the most sought after GM candidates to date. I think John Spytek is the equal to Ben Johnson from a GM standpoint to how he is viewed in the league, right? So now you have that, and you have guys that know what they're doing. They're going to try to build this roster for the better. And then now you have a guy that also has something tangible to offer Patrick Graham and can make Patrick Graham better. Man, this to me is when I start seeing some of the names out there is the best case scenario. Also, now when you start filling in those other positions under Patrick Graham, that is where the magic is going to happen for this roster, because now you get a chance to have Pete Carroll go out there and kind of lean on some of the relationships he has in this league. Now, Rob Leonard interviewing with the Raiders, I hope the Raiders, now that Patrick Graham is back, retain Rob Leonard. I am hopeful. I think they will. I am praying that they do. So what I want to see with Patrick Graham is I want to see him be challenged by Pete Carroll. I know he will. And I want to see Patrick Graham rise his level up. Rise his level to a level where people start considering him for the head coach job. I want to see Patrick Graham learn enough to be that guy in a building that Pete Carroll says he could be my heir apparent. And that would be great. Because let me tell you something. If he is the heir apparent, this is a guy who will have been in this organization longer than Pete Carroll. And if we have any marker of success, right, and he has any marker of success, we as Raider fans will be a whole lot more advantageous. Not advantageous. I'm using the wrong word. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like the guy on The Living Color that's using supposed big words in the wrong context, right? But it would behoove the Raiders, man, to have a guy who you can reach back even more than Pete. So say, for instance, 3 years is up and Pete's like, listen, man, I'm old. I want to go sit off somewhere. I'm done. Having Patrick Graham here, Patrick Graham could get this defense to the level I think that it can, and it could be one of the premier units in this league, and it could make the playoffs and possibly challenge for a championship or anything from that perspective. Then it makes sense to try to make Patrick Graham the head coach, as opposed to anointing him something that he has not earned. Now it makes sense if he's being groomed by Pete Carroll to be a head coach for real by a guy that really knows what it looks like. That is an excellent effing thing, man. I'm sorry. So as I work this out in my mind, I'm getting more and more excited about the fact that they're bringing Patrick back. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to the almost 700 of you guys in the room. Get wasted with your brother, wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this thing out to all social media. Shout out to everybody on Twitter that's watching. If you guys are on Twitter watching, man, come on over to the YouTube, man. We have cookies. I'm telling you, man, we are going to cook tonight, man. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to talk about Maxx Crosby. We're going to talk about, some other media pundits out there that were, interviewing Pete Carroll. And I also want to talk about the interview with Amy Trask, man. Amy Trask had a time to sit down with Pete Carroll. I think that might be one of his first interviews, man. It was an excellent interview. Salute to the Princess of Darkness, man. Salute to Amy Trask, man. Hopefully she will grace us with her presence on this platform, man. Salute to her, man. But let me give my shout outs and salutations. Get wasted with your brother, wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. My guy Sally Mitchell's in the place. Anthony Crane is in the place. Jenny Castillo is in the place. Central Coast Raps is in here, man. Ricky Two Toes, the Flying Wonderful Yvette Niles, man. Mondo Reyes, Bourbon County Raider, and the Modfather is in the place. Hug your mother for me with the obscenities. Get the F up out of here with that crap hug. What's wrong with you? You will always be Hug D's. Need you to change your name back so we can get back focused here. Your filth. Navy Blue is in the place. Adam Sweeney's in the place. Al Zato is in the place, man. Yo, man, salute to everybody. Raider Primos is in the place, man. The hardest working man in Raider YouTube, man. Raider Primos. Shout out to him, man. Yo, man, let me get to some of these supers here, man. Thank you guys, man, for pulling up, man. We got almost 800 in the room, man. We got almost 800 in the room. It is a flying, wonderful occasion, man. My guy, Louis Lamar. Your thoughts on Joe Milton of the Patriots. Now, Louis Lamar, I probably would have saved this to the end, but my thoughts is I don't have any thoughts until Pete gets in here, until he picks an offensive coordinator, right? And till we start kind of trying to see what their version of this offense looks like to them, right? I like him. He's very physically talented. I said it last year. I would bring him in the late round because he's big, he's strong, he can throw the ball hard. And if he has any markum of football acumen, then you can kind of develop that. You could develop elite traits. I'm always big on bringing in people with elite traits. Shout out to everybody in the room, man. Shout out to my guy, Larry DM, man. PG signed, no extension with AP here. I don't think he would be here if AP was still a coach. Maybe PG views P as someone who can bring some maturity to the organization. Look, I think that Patrick Graham weighed his options. He saw what was out there. And I don't think whatever was out there for him lined up with his expectations. He was interviewing with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know how that went. He interviewed for some head coaching positions that did not go great. Liam Cohen got the job that I thought that Patrick Graham might have a chance at getting. So, they say this about people, right? They say, Chris Rock said this. Chris Rock said, you're only as faithful as your options, right? So I think a lot of this harkens back to the fact that, his options dried up. And listen, man, you better go to the dance with the girl you know, right? Go to the dance with the girl you know, man. Go to the dance with the girl, and thank you for the $10 holler. And shout out to the fly and wonderful Yvette Niles with the $20 bomb. Let's go, Wasted. Appreciate you, Yvette. Appreciate you for keeping the lights on here, Raider Nation Unlimited, man. I really do. Thank you, Yvette, for all your support and everything, man, for real. My guy, Capital. You take the architect of the Legion and boom. Combine them with a DC who has the Raiders playing their best defense since 2002. The Raiders finished top 15 in defense without Max, Wilkins, and Cooch, etc. Man, so you got to get excited about that. If you get out your feelings as a Raider fan, you got to get excited about that. Salute to everybody in chat. And my guy, James High Stakes Williams. What up, Wasted? It's a new damn Raider Nation, and we are here. You damn right we are, bro. You are damn right we are here, man. Shout out to my guy, James, man. So look, man. Look, guys, I'm going to be 100% real with you, man. I can't find much fault with this. I can't, man. I can't find, much fault with this. Now, hold on. Charles Cox says, the defense doesn't tackle. Half of the defense doesn't wait, hold up. Charles, you gotta rephrase this for me, brother. You lost me here, man. Doesn't defense tackle half of defense? Doesn't what defense they're supposed to be in on any given down? Never in game shape. Another wasted year coming. Patrick Graham sucks. Look at what the deep bro. Look, let me tell you something about my chat, and let me tell you something about my channel, my brother. And I don't want to disrespect you, right? Because that's not what we're here to do, right? But, bro, you have to be informed if you're going to be in here. You have to be. Now, bro, to say that this defense sucks, right? We lost so many key pieces to this defense, including our main piece, Maxx Crosby. We lost him. We lost him for the year. We lost Christian Wilkins. We lost Malcolm Kuntz, man. We lost Marcus Epps. And if I'm not mistaken, the Raiders were 15th in defense this year. They were 15th in defense this year, my brother. So to be in the middle of the pack, missing key pieces, to me, that doesn't mean that you suck. That means that, the expectation was higher. Did we get to where we wanted to be? No. But then also you have to couple that with the fact that you had an offense that was horrendous. You had a running game that was horrendous. And you had a defense that was on the field way too much, bro. So, my brother, let me tell you something, man. You have to know what the F you were talking about in my chat, my brother. You got to go back. You got to get some facts. I'm going to put some of them up for you, brother. But listen, that is a good way for you to get unceremoniously blocked. Your filth. The F is wrong with you, man. Now, look, let's look at the Raiders, man. The Raiders were 15th, right smack dab in the middle of the league, right? Total points on the Raiders, 434 points. Average points per game against the Raiders defense is 25.5. Rushing yards, right up under 2,000 yards. Running yards per game, 116. Passing yards for the season, 3,676. And you guys can see all the average, man. Yards, where we at here, man? I kind of lost my place here, man. Your brother's getting old. 333.1 yards a game. But, this defense by no means was world beaters. But, man, let me tell you something. If I can be in the middle of the pack, missing like almost every key piece to my defense, bro, to me, you're playing with house money at that point. I'm going to be honest with you, brother. I am going to be honest with you, bro. So listen, bro, you have to get your life, my brother. Get your effing life, man. Said 20 years worth of losing, and it's not over. Charles Cox, bro, if you're going to be negative, bro, this is not the place for you, my brother. This is not the place for you. You're entitled to your opinion, my brother. I'm not going to go back and forth with you, bro. But we are on the train to try to find what is good with this damn team, bro. We're not here to tear the team down before they've even done a damn thing, bro. The F is wrong with you, man. Listen, I just gave you a gem, man. Speak life into the Raiders, man. Speak positivity into the Raiders, man. It's a gem. It's a gem, Charles. The F is wrong with you, man. Shout out to everybody in the place, man. My guy, Jack Burton, man. Hey, Wasted. I like the move with Peter Pan, LOL. But now I'm at the age where all of the nation needs to see these W's pile up, bro. And that's the thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, brother. That is why I'm very non-committal to everything. Only thing I can do is I can give you my summation of what I see. I can give you my summation of the fact that Pete Carroll, proven coach. Yeah, a little bit older. But at the end of the day, and Amy Trask said something that was awesome. I watched the interview with her cohort over there at a show on CBS, man. Shout out to Amy Trask, man. And they had an interview with Pete Carroll. They had an interview with Pete Carroll, man, and she said something very, very poignant, man. And I'm losing it, and now it came back. She said, Warren Buffett is 94 years old, but I would trust him with my money, right? So age really is not a factor for me if you still have the will, the want, the know-how, and the energy that can kind of keep it moving. Shout out to the over 1,000 of you guys in the room. Go Wasted with your brother Wasted, right? So that is something that we have to keep here. We have to look at this and say, man, listen, the guy is here. Patrick Graham is here. Maxx Crosby is back on board again. And I don't know if you guys transitioning, if you guys saw, Maxx Crosby, man, on the Rush Pod, man. He really kind of put a lot of things to bed, man, with his contract situation. And I'm glad Max did this, man. And I don't find it a coincidence that he kind of came out and kind of like put some water on some of the fire that's been burning in Raider Nation, man. It's been kind of a soap opera, man, the last few years in Raider Nation. And I needed for Max to do this. I'm glad he did that. But he addressed the trade talk. And I quote, he says, there's always going to be clickbait shit, especially this time of year. I don't know why. It's just funny. Like the last 2 years, the trade rumors have been out of hand. And now it's at an all-time high. And I feel like everything I say, they take it in a certain way, Crosby said. He goes, and it might be even the other fan bases that make our fans get mad. And then all of a sudden they start turning on me, bro. I'm like, bro, I'm just here minding my own business. The fans that switch up, they weren't fans in the first place. And they weren't really there for you anyway. So they're just revealing themselves. I've done nothing but give my heart and soul every single day to this organization. And as of right now, that's what it's going to continue to be. Crosby added said, I am never going to change who I am. A big part of the contention, man, with Maxx Crosby for me, right, it's been publicly the fact that, we know he doesn't have any guaranteed money, and he brings this up all the time, right? So look, man, and I know that he wants to be taken care of. I'm sure the Raiders will, but I'm gonna get back into what Max was saying. He goes, like I said, we talked about it, and obviously the contract situation and all that stuff that will be addressed, and we'll move accordingly, one step at a time. I've been a Raider through and through since the day I got here. And when it comes to the hires of Carroll, Spytech, and and everybody else that came into the building, Maxx Crosby was happy as hell, man. He was happy to just have a conversation with them. He said, I was excited to go and hear them talk and speak. And he said, I'm excited to have more conversations moving forward. I'm looking forward to that, Crosby said. He goes, it was good to finally be in the same room as them and get up in there and chop it up. And during the introductory press conference, Spytech and Carroll, like you guys know, they were very, very, very on board, and they kind of highlighted Max, and I think that's something that kind of made Raider Nation feel good, right? Because we didn't want this to be a repeat of John Gruden coming here and getting rid of our best player, right? And look, Maxx Crosby also went on to say, look, I've gotten to see what greatness looks like, what competitive looks like, and he's on board. So I think we can kind of put to bed some of the rumors about Max, man. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Shout out to my brother Graphic Raider, man. Shout out to my guy Graphic Raider in the place to be, man. My dog was out there doing his thing, man, at the East West Shrine Bowl. The man is just cooked right now. The brother's cooked right now, bro. The guy is like out there scouting, interviewing. I mean, it's just so much content for this guy, man. It's ridiculous, man. Shout out to my brother, my brother Graphic Wasted. Graphic Wasted. What the F? I'm so used to saying the Graphic Wasted show. Listen, guys, look, we're going to get into some more of this, but right now, man, you see I'm all over the place. I'm drinking my water. I think it's time for me to call Mrs. Wasted, man. It's time for some coffee, man. It's ridiculous. And I know it's a little late, but I think I need that shot in the arm. I'm calling the missus right now, man. It's unbelievable. Let me get some of these supers in here, man. Sweetheart. Yo, I need some coffee. I am spiraling out of control in here. It's sick and silly. It's crazy in here. Thank you, baby. Appreciate it. All right. The flying wonderful Mrs. Wasted, man. Yo, my guy, Michael Van Elgort. PG has a mentor now, someone he respects to help him become a head coach. You nailed it, Wasted. Look, and that's also what she said, my guy. That is what she said. Bang Zoom. Bang effing Zoom. My guy, Bruce Davis, a member of the Wasted Talent Army for 2 months. Salute, Wasted Nation. Appreciate you, my dog. My guy, Junior Land, Wasted. You and YouTube are unceremoniously blocked. I didn't know Supreme Talent was live. Let me down. Junior Land, my bad, brother. My bad, man. You know what? You got to blame the algorithm. Thank you, sweetheart, man. What is this? Coffee on demand? I mean, goddamn, you must see. You know what it was? You knew that your husband was in here going all over the place. Sick and silly. I had a feeling. You had a feeling. Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate you. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I needed that, bro. Yo, shout out to my wife, man. Shout out to my lovely wife, man. Yo, my God. D Cooks. Yo, Wasted. I get what you mean now. Telesco wasn't on the same trajectory as Carroll would be. Makes all the sense for him to get the boot. Look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, it was quick, man. You know what it is? My wife knows me like, bro, y'all understand. So me and my wife known each other since we were teenagers, bro. Me and my wife we were like this, man. Before we got married, before we started dating, that's my girl, man. They'll never, listen, let me tell you something, bro. If this don't work out, Wasted Talent will never get married. There'll never be another Mrs. Wasted, man, ever. That's my girl, man. That's my girl. Nah, you know what's funny? She knew. She knew. She knew, man. Because before I started the live, I said, "Hey, babe, could I get a cup of coffee?" She was like, "Yeah, yeah, I got you." As soon as the call came through, bam, yo. Nah, and bro, it's not even, I don't want to get into it, really, but not high school. We did go to high school together, but not high school sweethearts. We just friends, man. And we got married in our 20s. Matter of fact, our anniversary's coming up next month. But shout out to my dog Graf, man. Interview Andrew Whitworth today, man. One of the guys I have a lot of respect for in this league, man. A lot of respect for in this league, yo. A lot of respect for it, man. Shout out to my dog Graf, man. So look, let's get into it, man. Now, guys, I told you, man, Amy Trask and them, they had Pete Carroll on, man. And there was some things that was interesting that was said on that podcast, man. One thing that I love, man, and the podcast is called What the Football with Amy Trask and Susie Schuster, man. And they kind of talked about, how Pete Carroll is going to move forward and kind of be an architect of this team. And one of the great things that I heard from Pete Carroll is he said, he kind of broke it down. He said, when you start talking about competing and how I'm going to build this team, everything is on the table. That's pretty much what he said. It's not verbatim what he said, but he's pretty much saying that everything's on the table, man. They're going to go in the free agent market. They're going to look. He goes, he's not going to turn down any opportunity to be competitive. So what that shows me is that long gone are the days of the Raiders, kind of passing on talents because they don't fit in. Like when Josh McDaniels was here, and I don't want to go back to the Josh McDaniels stuff. When he was here, there was a lot of nonsense, but it was a lot of players that he would get rid of and certain guys he would bring in because of relationships and this and that. What I think we're going to get with Spytek and Pete Carroll is we're going to get talented football players, bar none. And if there's a guy that's out there that we all see and we're like, yo, go after that guy. Like I'm going to give you an example, like Baker Mayfield. Go bring him in, bro. I don't think we're going to have those gaps with Pete Carroll, bro. I don't, man. I do not think so, bro. I'm telling you right now, man. We are here to compete, man. We are here to compete, man. Now, guys, look, I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back into, Patrick Graham, right? And I want to go into what I think is going to need to be the change with Patrick Graham and his defense. And a lot of the reason why I feel like the middle of the field is open is a scheme issue. And I think that Robert Spillane needs help in that linebacking core, especially covering people. I'm going to be honest with you. Patrick Graham and Pete, and I know Pete Carroll values the running back position. Not the running back, but the linebacker position. I know he values that. Now, you have a guy that's an older guy that has kind of a connection to Pete Carroll and Bobby Wagner that's out there. Now, he's a little long in the tooth, but this is a guy that can come into your locker room, help galvanize that locker room, help get that defense together. See, those glue guys, those guys that have that experience, guys like even Marcus Epps, man. Marcus Epps was a guy that was a communicator that was sorely missed by the Raiders this year. Now, I don't know if the Raiders are going to keep Marcus Epps, but you're going to need vocal guys like that know what's going on with this scheme to come into the building. And I'm telling you right now, the Raiders in the draft and in free agency need to improve that linebacking core. And I think you're going to see better results in the middle of the football field, man. Shout out to my guy Hug D's, man. Wasted. Anyone out there for DB and linebacker coach that you would have your eye on, assuming that Patrick Graham and Patrick Graham, and the deal's not done yet. They're working out the deal. I'm pretty sure that Rob Leonard is probably going to be brought back. You know what I mean? But yeah, there were a few guys that I sit up here and I think to myself, who would Pete Carroll bring in, man? And when you start talking about guys that he can bring in, you kind of want to go back and look at people who was on his staff previously. You want to look at people who was on Pete Carroll's staff previously, man. You know, I think when you start talking about coaches, man, and you start talking about who they're bringing in, who they haven't, who they're, who's going to fill out the roster, I think that is a huge, huge plus when you can bring in people that you've worked with before. So you know, I'm starting to comb through that staff right now. I don't know if Pete Carroll would want to bring in Ken Norton Jr., as a guy that can maybe be a linebacker coach. But I think Ken Norton Jr. being here with the Raiders and not being defensive coordinator would be great. It would be great because now you can start adding some of that Legion of Boom stuff. You could start bringing in some of those looks. You can bring that into the building, and you can bring a guy that works great with Pete Carroll. He's always worked. Ken Norton Jr. hasn't ever been worth a shit without Pete Carroll as a coach. My guy Violator, the legend, is in a place, man. Shout out Violator, man. Appreciate you, brother, for pulling up. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And see, this is the thing, man. When we start talking about other guys that you can bring in, you start thinking about, man, maybe you can bring in some former players and groom them as coaches that can help you out. You can really, and see, I think that is when a lot of times when we start talking about bringing in former players, right? You start talking about bringing guys like Cam Chancellor, people like that, right? And I don't really, and then I'm just spitballing here, bro. I'm not saying that they should bring in Cam Chancellor, but for positional coaches, I love when defensive staffs bring in guys who just stop playing the game. I love it because now what you have is you have a guy who has a connection to the game that is not long gone. And you have a guy that can actually help you work on your technique. When you bring in former great players and make them positional coaches, I think that is where you get the value of bringing in the former players. Telling you right now, man. Telling you right now. That is some of the stuff that I would love to do. And like Hug D said, Cam Chancellor would be effing awesome. Part of my friend. Yes, man. I mean, that is now see, like Cam Chancellor, Sherm. I don't know if Sherm wants to coach, man. Like Sherm is out there and he's on television, man. He's making a whole lot of money on TV. He seems like the trajectory of his, playing days after his playing days is in the media. He's always been an engaging guy, but I would love to see a guy like Sherm because Sherm was a cerebral corner, bro. And I don't necessarily need him to be the defensive backs coach, right? But I would love him to be in the building in some kind of way, especially if they're going to use any of that cover 3 stuff, man. And Patrick Graham is very, very to me malleable as a defensive coordinator, man. I think the way he runs his scheme is based off of the personnel. So as Pete is building his defense, if he wants to bring some of that Legion of Boom stuff, you're going to see Patrick Graham kind of adjust his scheme to fit the players and the people that Pete bring in. And I'm sure that Pete Carroll is going to, sometimes, man, kind of take the helm in a sense, man. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you, man. That's what I think is about to happen, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to my guy, God Family Raiders for Life. As a member of the Wasted Talent Army for 2 months, man. Let's sing some carols and eat some graham cookies, man. Shout out to you, brother. Now, guys, let me ask you guys a question, man. And my guy Violator just brought up a name that I wanted to talk about. I hope Eckenberg lives up to his reputation. I love his Ohio State career. I do too. And I'm going to be honest with you, bro. We have a lot of talent on this defense, man. There are a lot of people who are sitting up here and saying that we're going to lose and nobody wants to come here. And these are people, and this is the reason why we have a platform here. Because I know this team, and you guys do too. There is a lot of young talent in that damn building, bro. I can't wait to see Tommy Eichenberg. I can't wait to see him more than just a special teamer because there's a lot there. I love the kid's motor. I love the kid's motor. And a part of me kind of wonders who's going to be brought back and who's not. I wonder about Divine Diablo. I wonder about guys like that. I wonder about Isaiah Palmel. He seems to be the kind of player that Pete Carroll would love to bring in, man. I mean, and it's dope too, man, because look, we have all the college all-star games going on, right? And man, there are a lot of players out there, man. I've been doing my homework, man. I've been doing a lot of homework, man. And bro, there's a lot of young players that I'm super excited about. There's a lot of young players that I'm super excited about, man. There's a lot of standouts today, man. There's a lot of young linemen that are out there, man. I'm seeing a lot of guards out there. Man, I'm seeing people, man, that dude, we can fill a lot of holes, and we got a lot of picks in this damn draft coming up, man. We have a lot of picks in this draft coming up, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Let me get to some of these comments, man. We got over 1,200 in the room, man. Unbelievable, man. This late at night, too, man. This late at night, man. I love it, man. Yes, thank you, Violet. The negative fans can get the F up out of here with their crap. Look, and I don't want to go off into a tangent, bro. I'm getting sick of that crap, bro. I'm getting tired of people that just want to be negative, just for the sake of being negative, bro. Like, how about we get into how the team can improve, bro? I mean, that is what I'm all about, bro. I'm not about all of that bull crap, man. Now, the thing that's starting to make me a little nervous is Pete Carroll bringing in Darrell Bevell, yo. Now, I don't think Darrell Bevell's a terrible coach, man. He's done well. They've won a Super Bowl together, but I don't know if Darrell Bevell's scheme at this point in his career is something that is going to bring us where we need to go. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I want a little more flash and pizzazz when we start talking about the offensive side of the football, man. Now, Darrell Bevell's been working with the quarterbacks in Miami the last few seasons, man, and his offenses in Seattle were like predicated around the running game, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, and Bevell, he fielded a top 5 rushing attack 4 times as an offensive coordinator, and it's looking like, and if I can repeat some of the things Pete Carroll said on the Amy Trask podcast, is that, it's not all just on the quarterback. It's about building a team to support the quarterback. And they had a conversation about Carson Palmer and when he first got to USC and how they built the team around Carson Palmer, right? And he said he's going to use a lot of those same principles to try to build this. Pete was kind of looking at this the way I looked at it. He's saying that the Raiders are not that far off, and he's going to use a lot of those same principles because he thinks that it's kind of very similar to when he first got to USC, now with the Raiders. And I love to hear that. So we know when you got people that say that it's a total rebuild, that is nonsense, bro. It is definitely not a total rebuild, man. My guy Violet, a question. Bevell 2 at this point needs some innovation, in my opinion. Yeah, I definitely do. I on the offensive side of the football, look, Pete is a savant, right? Max and most of the star players on his team, I hate to say it, are on the defensive side of the football. I think bringing continuity and keeping those guys happy is more advantageous to the organization. But from the offensive perspective, I think we need to do a big overhaul in the offense, because the offense, if you look at it, is what's held us back. The offense, if we could get an improvement from being a top 15 unit and get into the top 10 as a defensive unit and field the top 15 offense, I think that catapults us into the playoffs next year. Next year. Shout out to everybody. John Bailey says, don't bring waste to the problem. Bring solution. They'll be unceremoniously blocked. Nah, that's all good, man. Shout out to my guy, man. My guy, Yorkie World. I think we keep Diablo. Pete Carroll can help him improve at middle linebacker and put him at no, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that they're now, from an athletic standpoint, Divine Diablo is a guy who has all the measurables, all the tools, right? Looks like Tarzan, but at times plays like Jane. He doesn't play downhill. When you're a linebacker, you don't play on your heels, you play downhill. You have to play downhill. I don't see Divine Diablo making plays in the backfield enough. And the thing is, he's not a linebacker by trade. A lot of the times, I'm very hard on guys who were converted from another position than they played their whole life, right? Because even though sometimes you have success with that, with Divine Diablo, I think I have enough of a sample size to see what kind of linebacker he is. And the kind of linebacker I want all my linebackers with the mentality of Robert Spillane. And that is one of the reasons why, with Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard being here, I think that the Raiders, job one is Maxx Crosby, job two is Robert Spillane, bro. I think the Raiders should sign Robert Spillane, and while they're at it, they need to bring another linebacker in with them, man. For me, if Divine Diablo doesn't come on the cheap, I think it's time for him to move on, maybe to another scheme, another organization. Maybe they might get better luck out of him. But the thing with Divine Diablo, even though when you look on the stat sheet, they say men lie, women lies, numbers don't. I don't necessarily believe that as it pertains to linebackers, because most of the time, bro, Divine Diablo is chasing people down to make a tackle. He's making tackles from behind. He's not, sniffing stuff out and smacking people. A lot of missed tackles, a lot of nonsense, bro. A lot of missed tackles and a lot of nonsense. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, man. I would like to see an improvement there. There are a couple of people on this roster that I want to keep. Look, and yo, listen, and yo, my guy, man, I think, Jared Gonzalez, I think I'm gonna have to steal this from you, brother. He said, men lie, women lie, results don't. God damn, bro. That was a freaking haymaker, man. That's a jewel like I've never seen, bro. That is a jewel like I've never seen. Now, when we start talking about people that we need to keep, bro, Kalavion Chasen, bro, is a young talent that I'm telling you right now, bro. They better not let that kid get off of this roster. I think he is prone to break out with a whole offseason with these coaching staff, bro. That is a kid. If you start looking at some of the production he had, now if you can get him on the field the same time with Max, and if you could keep Malcolm Kuntz, oh my God, man. Kalavion Chasen's ceiling, bro, is through the damn roof. It's through the roof. Yo, my guy Licky T, man, said Diablo and masturbation can kick rocks. They're both terrible against the run. Yo, listen, I will not let you come in with that filth. Stop talking about Lucas Disasterson like that. Lucas Asterson. Nah, let me not disrespect Lucas Masterson, man. Shout out to Lucas Masterson, bro. He's playing at a level I never could. Yo, Chasen and Lalu. Shout out to both of them young guys, man. Lalu, a rookie, you definitely got to keep that kid. Now, guys, I'm sorry, man. Guys, let's get it. Let's get into some more stuff, guys. Listen, get your questions in, man. Get your questions in. Yo, we are cooking right now. It is a little late, but yo, I am here for you. I have nowhere to go. I am not tired. I just drink a big cup of coffee and I am ready to rock and roll. And while I'm at it, let me give a shout out to my proud sponsor at BetUS. Shout out to BetUS. 150% of your first deposit and 125% of your next two deposits up to $2,000 using YouTube code 150. There is none greater and none better than BetUS. Shout out to BetUS. And this stream is powered by BetUS. I mean, guys, look, the reads are getting just like clockwork now, man. I mean, listen, I mean, the level of professionalism, I have to pat myself on the back, man. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable, man. But guys, I want to ask you guys something, man. There was an article out there that linked a star running back to the Raiders in free agency, man. Now, after letting Josh Jacobs go, the Raiders kind of failed to shore up the running game. We were one of the worst teams in the league against the run. We were the worst rushing attack in the NFL, right? We were hoping that Zamir White was going to turn into Zeus, but unfortunately, he was Kid Icarus, and he flew too close to the sun and his wings melted. We brought in Alexander Mattison, but Alexander Mattison is, a great running back to have in your room, but you don't want to have Alexander Mattison be your starting running back. And if you have him as your starting running back, that means you kind of got a bit of an issue there, right? So, Bleacher Report's Chris Knox thinks that the Raiders are one of the teams to watch for with Cleveland Browns and pending free agent Nick Chubb. Now, look, guys, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. All of these media pundits love putting free agents on the Raiders. Everyone does. Listen, let me tell you something. I like Nick Chubb, but let's just be for real here. This draft, from a running back perspective, is one of the best drafts in the last 20 years. And to me, and I was having a discussion in a discourse with somebody in my comments, bro. The Raiders are not at the point to go out there and bring in a recycled, high-priced player who is injury-prone. Najee, Chubb, whomever. Now, look, Najee's not injury-prone, but Najee's going to cost you. I'm going to be honest with you. So going to get Najee Harris, you might as well have kept the one you drafted in Josh Jacobs. To me, it makes no sense for the Raiders at this point in the game to go out there and bring in a guy on their second or third contract. We are on an upswing. We are trying to build something. We have not located our quarterback yet. We have a lot of holes on this team. We are not ready to bring in big-time free agents on the offensive side of the football. I'm sorry. You build a team through the draft. Can I say it one more time? Look, I'm going to say it like Dr. Umar Johnson. You build a team through the draft. You build a team through the draft. You build a team through the draft. Telling you right now, bro. Now, it is so many people out there. There's so many running backs out there. You have the Ollie Gordons of the world. Now, you guys know I've been very high on Ollie Gordon. You have the Amarion Hamptons of the world. I mean, you have so many options in the draft, man. So many options. I don't see any reason for you to bring in a running back in free agency. Listen, I don't see any reason why you would do something like that. You got Devin Neal. It is such a deep draft, man. Such a freaking deep draft, man. You got both running backs from freaking Ohio State, bro. That's just how I feel about it, man. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm cooking with gas here, bro. You guys tell me, man. Henderson and Jukins. My guy Hug D's. I don't know. Pete didn't draft beast mode. Traded for him in Buffalo. Pete loves bulldozer running backs. But see, the situation dictates that the situation dictates the outcome, right? The situation dictates the actions. Maybe that year the draft you didn't have a good running back draft back then. I just feel like when you have a draft that is this loaded, man, with talent, you would do yourself a disservice not to take a flyer on one of these guys, bro. You're doing yourself a disservice at that point, brother. Because you got to look at it from this perspective. Most running backs do not get better the older they get. Most running backs are at their powers, the height of their powers on their first contract. Most running backs are at the height of their powers on their first contract. Most of them are. You know, you want to get that young running back. You want to get that guy that's hungry, that wants that contract. You don't want to be the one to give him the contract unless you drafted him and you got the best out of him. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, bro. And history dictates that. History dictates that. Now, you have people who are Hall of Famers, bro, and, you know, they can sustain. But I'll give you an example. Now, let's look at LaDainian Tomlinson. He's one of the great running backs to ever play this game, right? Now, in 2001, he was a rookie. He had 339 attempts, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. I'm not even going to get into the receiving yards. He had 398 touches. The next year, second year in the league, 1,683 yards and 14 touchdowns. His third year in the league, 1,645 yards, 13 touchdowns. The next year, 1,335 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns. Right? So that puts him at his fourth year. Now he's a Hall of Famer, right? So fourth year, first round pick, got the money. 1,400 yards, 18 tutties. Fifth year. I'm in my fifth year. I did my fifth year. That was fifth. Sixth year. 1,800 yards, 28 touchdowns. Seventh year. 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns. Then after that, he kind of started falling. 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. 700 yards, 12 touchdowns. 900 yards, 280 yards out the league in 10 years. I'm signing up for them first 5 years, man. That's just me. If I'm the Raiders, I'm signing up for them first 5 years. I mean, am I wrong? Listen, we can go into other running backs. Let's careen into this, man. Now, LT gave me nightmares. Gave me freaking nightmares, but that's the reason why your brother Wasted pulled him up, man. Now let's go into Adrian Peterson, y'all. Adrian Peterson's first few years in this league, 2007 was Adrian Peterson's first year. He came out the same year as Jamarcus Russell. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man, because it's funny, man. Jamarcus Russell was drafted the year my oldest daughter was born, right? And it's funny, man. I remember I got pictures of my daughter with a Jamarcus Russell jersey on, man. It's fucking crazy, man. You couldn't tell me Jamarcus Russell wasn't going to be. I was so hyped that we had the number one pick. I'm listening to Mel Kiper Jr. talk about how he's more Peyton Manning than Michael Vick. This guy was a bumsicle, man. And then he comes to camp and the dude is 268 pounds playing quarterback. He'd have ate another sandwich. He could have been a guard for us. Nasty work, man. But no disrespect, man. It's just hilarious. So let's get into it. Adrian Peterson, right? Rookie season, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Second year, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns. Third year, 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. Fourth year, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. Then I think 2011, he might have got hurt. 2011 was, after the fourth year, was his fifth year, probably the first year of the contract. He did get hurt, right? So he had 970 yards. Then 6th year, 2,000 yards. That was his best year. And 12 touchdowns. Then after that, it got a little sporadic. He had 1,200 yards. Then 1 year, he only played one game, had 75 yards. The next year, he had 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. Then the next year, he had 37 yards. The next year, he had 27 yards. The next year, he had 129, 251, and then he never kind of reached them heights again. So my point is, those first 4 years of the prime of their careers, you have to key in on that. And we can go, I'm not going to go and bring up another running back. I think I've made my point, man. Shout out to my guy Violator in the place, man. Shout out to my guy Jamba Juice, man. And I love Cam Scatterbull too, man. I do. He's not a guy that I have rated first, but I like Cam Scatterbull. Who was the oldest coach in the NFL in 2023? It was Carroll. Wasn't until he became the Raiders coach that the media felt the need to tell you that. No, I think what happens is that the timeline resets, right? So when Pete Carroll was in the league, he wasn't alone in 2023, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, was Bill Belichick still coaching in 2023? Because him and Bill Belichick are the same age, right? But I think it's like, he got Bill Belichick by a few months, right? It's not like it's some conspiracy to kind of highlight his age, man. The thing about age is subjective, man. So you can be in years chronologically, you could be 73 years old, but he could be 73 years old with the mental acuity of a guy that's in his 30s. It's funny when they talk about Pete Carroll's age, right? But because if you look at Pete Carroll, he's the most healthy coach in the AFC West now. Jim Harbaugh played a long time. He looks like he's banged up. Andy Reid is a half-eaten sandwich away from a coronary, and Sean Payton is becoming a bit gelatinous as well. Pete Carroll looks like he's ready to roll. He is in the best shape out of all these guys. He'll run them into the effing ground. He'll run them into the ground. So I have no problem with his age, man. No problem. No effing problem, man. I see you guys naming some of these young backs that are out there, man. Let me ask y'all a question, man. You got all these young backs. You got all of these young backs out there, right? Let's say the Raiders, go another way. First round, they stay away from running back, right? They stay away. Second round, they go get a quarterback or something like that. So now you're looking from third round on, right? So if we're operating under the illusion or under the knowledge that Austin Genty would probably be gone, right? Who is the next guy after him and Amarian Hampton that you bring in, man? Who is the next guy? Who's that? Who's that next guy, man? I know a lot of people are saying Cam Scatterbook. I know that. Who is the guy that you would bring in? You know what I'm saying? Who is it? Because listen, I have a lot of people that I like, man. This running back class is so freaking loaded, man. So loaded, man. Aston Genty, man. Hampton, Caleb Johnson, bro. Caleb Johnson is a guy that has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle, man. But Caleb Johnson, man, from Iowa is a beast, man. A beast, an absolute beast. He's a guy, man. I don't think's getting talked about enough, man. I really don't, man. I don't think he's getting talked about enough. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I mean, I'm saying, look, I'm gonna take because look, we've been talking about Amarian Hampton, bro. We're taking him out of the equation. We're taking Aston Genty out of the equation. Peyton Hurdle, great list. Devin Neal, Caleb Johnson, Hampton are my favorites. Shout out to you. The kid from Ohio State. No, this the thing, Violator, because they got two, right? So is it Henderson? Because Henderson, for what I understand, is the kid that I think he might be the fastest running back in the draft, man. He might be the fastest running back in the draft, man, if I'm not mistaken, yo. Ollie Gordon is a guy that I'm very, very high on, man. Ollie Gordon reminds me a lot, and a lot of people might not agree with me, but Ollie Gordon reminds me a lot, man, of oh my God. I know I'm getting old, bro. Because this is a guy that was Arian Foster. He reminds me a lot of Arian Foster, man. A lot of Arian Foster. There's so many kids in this draft, man. I mean, and look, to me, bro, I'm gonna be on Aston Genty, man, record breaking year. But it's just like, bro, Kushan Jukins is another guy from Ohio State. 4'5" guy, 6 foot, 220. Damian Martinez from Miami. You know, I mean, listen, you got Trevor Etienne, you got Ollie Gordon, man. I mean, these look, man, there's so many young guys out there. Cam Scatterbull, RJ Harvey, Bashard Smith out of SMU, man. Montrell Johnson. Man, I mean, so many young running backs, man. I think it would be organizational malpractice to go out there and bring in a free agent, bro. I'm sorry, man. But let me ask you guys a question, right? Let me ask you guys a question, right? We just came up on an hour, yo. Shout out to everybody. I don't know what the hell's going on. I think that my screen is freezing. Dylan Sampson, also underrated, right? Shout out to Bet US, our proud sponsors, right? Do you guys see at the number 6 pick any logic in taking an Aston Genty? Taking a running back at number 6. Knowing Pete Carroll, knowing how he wants to run the football, knowing how he wants to support his quarterback, right? Do you see any way that Aston Genty gets taken at 6? Do you think he's worthy of that? Or do you think from a positional need situation that would be organizational? Because to be honest with you, bro, as loaded as this draft is, I can't see any way where it makes any sense for the Raiders to take a running back at 6, man. I look, I know a lot of people are prisoners of the moment. A lot of people are like, look, Wasted, you tripping, I would take him. I can't see it, bro. Shout out to my guy Hug Dizzle, man. As an Idahoan, the kid is special. Hard for me to say no. Now, Hug, you watched them a lot more than me, man. A lot more than me. Hug, let me ask you a quick question, man. Is it Idaho or Idaho? Is it Idaho or Idaho, Hug these? I've always had a problem with that state. Shout out to my guy Hug D's, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Yo, we have had a freaking terrific show, man. You guys think it's time to pull the train back into the station, guys? You guys let me know, man. You let me effing know. Do you guys think it is time to pull the train back into the station, man? Is it time? We've been going for an hour. We've been cooking for an hour. This has been the most splendiferous occasion. This has been the most splendiferous occasion, man. Oh, don't worry about it, man. Just watch the replay, my brother. DeMarcus Webb, you guys want to do a mock draft? Yo, Ravi, he said, you the whole fam. F out of here, man. But to be honest with you guys, look, man. I think we've been at this a long time, man. But before we go, what do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. We did a mock draft where we had the chat picking, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. Rick L, yes. Everybody's happy with Patrick Graham. You guys want to mock it up? Everybody, before we go, because I just got the bat signal from my lady. She want me to come to bed, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think tomorrow we'll do a mock draft, yo. Tomorrow we will do a mock draft, guys. Love all of y'all, man. I got the bat signal from the wifey. It's time for bed, yo. It is time for bed, man. I got the bat signal. I gotta go, man. I got to go, man. Listen. Hey, Hug Dizzle, yo. You were married, you know. I got the bat signal. Yo, listen. I have some business to attend to, yo. You guys have a terrific night. I think this has been the most splendiferous occasion, yo. We had a great show. Shout out to my guy Graf, man. Shout out to the Violator, man. I appreciate him for showing love, man, and having a legend in the chat, bro. Shout out to everybody on Twitter. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button and this is your first time watching my show, please hit that subscribe button, man. We want to get to a certain level here in this thing, man. We will be rocking and rolling tomorrow. Shout out to my sponsors, BetUS. Get 150% bonus on your first deposit. Get 125% bonus on the next 2 deposits up to $2,000 using YouTube code YouTube150. This stream has been powered by BetUS, man. Y'all have a terrific and great and powerful night, man. If you guys haven't heard, the Raiders are bringing back Patrick Graham. They're working on his deal. We have some continuity on this side of the ball. I think that there have been a lot of common sense things that have been done in this offseason, more so than at any time in the last 20 years. I'm excited. I don't want to sell y'all too much opium, but listen, man, we can be proud of what's happening in the front office right now. Now it's time for them to fill out this coaching staff, and we're going to be with you guys every step of the way, man. Love every single one of y'all. Y'all have a freaking great night. We are out of here. Shout out to my guy, I Am Black 360, being a part of the Wasted Talent Army. And look, yo, at ease, all of y'all out there. We will be back rocking, man. Y'all have a freaking terrific, terrific night, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow.